Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet and Crime, where I crochet and I talk about true crime stories. Today we will be talking about the Slender Man killers, and the people involved in this story are Peyton Leitner, Morgan Geyser, and Anissa Wire. That being said, let's get into it. Okay, let's get into it. So, Peyton and Morgan were the best of friends. You know, they just, because they shared similar interests. You know, they both love science fiction, you know, they're both like kind of lonely kids. And, you know, they just wanted friends, and so they found friends in each other in the 4th grade. And, you know, they enjoyed each other's company. They were described as nice, caring, and loving children. And yeah, in 6th grade, Morgan introduced a new friend, Anissa or Anissa. I'm gonna go with Anissa. I don't know, but yeah, so the three enjoyed each other's company, but that was fairly short-lived because Peyton felt that she was being replaced by Anissa. And you know that, like three-way friendships typically don't ever last. So yeah, she had every right to feel that way. And yeah, so anyways, Peyton started noticing really weird stuff about Anissa. She would talk about really gnarly and spooky stories, and she would describe this creature as a person with no face. You know, he would wear a business suit, you know, be all professional and stuff, and he would lure kids into the woods and unalive them. So, you know, Morgan was absolutely hooked with these stories, and Peyton was more or less absolutely not. So Peyton went to her mom and basically told her everything, and she was just looking for confirmation that none of it was true or anything like that. And her mom confirmed that it was all bogus, it was baloney, all that other stuff. And, you know, Anissa was just trying to scare her. So Peyton went to Anissa and was like, yep, that's not true at all, bro. Not true. So Morgan and Anissa were still hooked on the creature. They thought this dude was like the most real thing. So, you know, they grew closer because they thought he was like a real guy, you know. They pretty much just left Peyton there to be in her own little world while they talked about the Slender Man. So on May 30th, 2014, the girls celebrated Morgan's 12th birthday. You know, it was fun. You know, it was their friend's birthday. Of course it was going to be fun. You know, they ended the night with a slumber party, but something was a little off with Morgan. You know, they planned to pull like an all-nighter or stay up as late as they wanted, but Morgan was like, no, I'm pretty tired right now, you know, I'll just leave it for tonight. So they went to bed, and that next morning, Peyton could not find Morgan or Anissa. So she went out and saw them crowded by the computer, and she thought that was a little weird. So she went over and asked what they were doing, and they kind of just shrugged her off. They didn't tell her what they were doing or anything like that. So they had breakfast, and, you know, everything was fine, everything was dandy. And Morgan was like, hey, why don't we go to the park? You know, it's nice outside, everything like that. And the girls agreed, so Morgan asked her mom if she can go to the park. And normally, Morgan's mom would either go with them or have another adult go. But she was like, you know what? You're 12. You're grown enough to go to the park by yourself. What trouble could they really get into? So they went to the park and they went into the woods. And Anissa was like, "Hey, why don't we play hide and seek in this secluded area where no one can find us? No one can find us." So, yeah. So they decided to play hide and seek. Morgan wanted to count first, so that's what she did. And so Peyton and Anissa ran off. And Anissa was like, "Hey, bestie, why don't you lay down and cover yourself up with sticks and leaves?" And so Peyton did just that. She laid down, covered herself up, and whenever she was done doing that, she looked and she saw Morgan hovering over her, and in her hands were a knife. And Peyton was not able to process it even for like a millisecond before Morgan went to town. She stabbed her 19 times. And Anissa held her down as, Morgan stabbed Peyton. After they were done, they ran off and left her to die. And, they thought they had done it. They thought they had officially killed their friend, but no. Peyton got up and limped her way over to the main road to hopefully, maybe there was a car driving by that would see her, and there was a person on a bike that saw her. Not exactly a car, but a bike. And so that person called the police, and the ambulance came by, and, Peyton was in and out of consciousness, and they took her to the hospital where she was rushed into surgery. And, the doctors saw that she had multiple stab wounds on her arms and on her legs, but she had 2 stab wounds in her torso, one right next to her heart. And the doctor was like, "Hey, if that moved over, if she stabbed you, a little bit over, you would have been a goner." So, yeah. After surgery, investigators came in and asked Peyton who did this to her. And so she wrote down the girls' names and everything like that. And so the police actually had found the girls earlier that day because they were at a furniture store, but they were covered in blood. So the police were like, "This is kind of fish, so we're gonna see what's going on here." And Morgan was like, "Hey, we're just going into the forest. Don't mind us." And Anissa was not saying anything. Anissa, so the police interrogated her, and she was like, "He can read minds and he can teleport to different places." And the police were like, "Who is this he character we're talking about?" And so eventually the girls said that they had to kill their friend in order to please Slender Man. And so the police were like, "Okay, you guys are little weirdos." So they arrested them, and they interrogated them, all this other stuff, try to get more stuff out of them. And eventually they were charged, and Morgan was charged with attempted first-degree homicide, and Anissa was charged with attempted second-degree homicide. They were tried as adults, and before Morgan's trial, they had reported that she would be talking to random things in her room. She said that she saw unicorns and that she was talking to Slender Man, and she was just not mentally well, and so they took her to a mental hospital where she was diagnosed with early onset schizophrenia, which her father had, but he was diagnosed at 14, so since she was diagnosed early on, she was able to get the medication or like the help that she needed to help with her problem. And so, yeah. And a year later after the attack, she went to a state mental hospital. And in September of 2016, she accepted a plea bargain that instead of going to prison, she would go to a mental institution. And Anessa, on the other hand, only served 3 years in a mental hospital and was let out. The big debate was whether or not they should have been let out, or not let out, but like should have stayed in a little longer. And other people were saying, they were kids and they were obviously not mentally well, so it was a big old debate. And there are plenty of other cases of this Slender Man figure being a huge inspiration for children committing crimes or attempting to murder their family members. And so yeah, so that's another reason to not have kids. Bad timing. Bad timing. Anyways, I'll finish this up and I'll be right back. Alright guys, here's the finished product. It is a beanie. I'm super proud of this. Yeah. It's crazy. I really liked the yarn that I got for it. If you're wondering what it is, it's a Premier puzzle. It's acrylic yarn. This is probably backwards. Damn. Anyways. So yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to stab that subscribe button / that like button. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Comment down below if you want me to cover any true crime stories, and I might. Alright, have a good day, bye!